Some places look so unreal, they feel like movie sets. Welcome to New Zealand, a land of dramatic mountains, mirror-like lakes, and landscapes so cinematic they've become the backdrop for some of the world's biggest films. Here, snow-capped peaks rise above turquoise waters, rolling green valleys stretch endlessly, and nature feels untouched and powerful. In this video, we're exploring the breathtaking beauty of New Zealand, from towering alpine ranges to crystal-clear lakes, and discovering why this island nation feels like stepping into another world. The Southern Alps, a spine of snow and stone. Running almost the entire length of New Zealand's South Island, the Southern Alps are the backbone of this country's wild identity. Stretching over 500 kilometers, this mountain range is home to more than 3,000 peaks, with Aoraki Mount Cook standing tallest at 3,724 meters. What makes the Southern Alps so visually striking isn't just their height, it's the contrast. On one side, you have lush green rainforests fed by heavy rainfall from the Tasman Sea. On the other side, the landscape dries out into wide golden valleys and braided rivers that shimmer under open skies. Aoraki Mount Cook, which the Maori people regard as a sacred ancestor, dominates the skyline in a way that demands your full attention. On a clear day, the mountain reflects in the turquoise waters of Lake Pukaki below, creating one of the most photographed views on the planet. The area around Mount Cook National Park is also one of the best places in the world for stargazing. With almost no light pollution and the Southern Alps framing the sky, the Milky Way appears so clearly that it feels like you could reach out and touch it. Glaciers are another defining feature of this mountain range. The Franz Josef Glacier and the Fox Glacier on the west coast are among the most accessible glaciers in the world, flowing down from the mountains almost to sea level, something that rarely happens anywhere else on Earth. Hiking on them gives you a perspective on time and scale that is genuinely humbling. The ice is ancient, the crevasses are deep, and the blue light that filters through the glacier walls is unlike anything you've ever seen. Fiordland, where water meets mountain in the most dramatic way. If the Southern Alps are New Zealand's backbone, then Fiordland is its soul. Located in the far southwest corner of the South Island, Fiordland National Park is one of the largest national parks in the world and one of the most remote and untouched places you can visit. The landscape here was carved out by glaciers over millions of years, leaving behind steep-sided fjords that plunge into dark, still water. Milford Sound is the most famous of these fjords, and for good reason. Sheer rock walls rise up to 1,200 meters straight out of the water. Waterfalls drop hundreds of meters from the cliffs above. On a misty morning, and there are many of those since Milford Sound is one of the wettest places on Earth, the whole scene takes on an almost mystical quality, with clouds hanging between the peaks and the water completely calm. When it rains, which is often, hundreds of temporary waterfalls appear on the cliff faces, turning the entire fjord into a living waterfall display. Doubtful Sound, which is even more remote and far less visited, offers something even more raw and powerful. Getting there requires a boat trip across Lake Manapuri and a coach ride over a mountain pass, but the effort is completely worth it. The silence in Doubtful Sound is the kind of silence that city people have forgotten exists. The only sounds are the wind, the water, and occasionally the call of a bird echoing across the walls. Dolphins regularly swim through both Milford and Doubtful Sound, and fur seals bask on the rocks. This is wildlife in its natural home, completely undisturbed. The lakes of the South Island, colors that don't look possible. New Zealand's lakes are famous for a very specific reason: their color. Lakes like Pukaki, Tekapo, and Wanaka have a distinctive turquoise and blue-green color that looks almost artificially enhanced in photographs, but it's completely natural. The color comes from glacial flour, fine rock particles ground down by glaciers that stay suspended in the water and scatter light in a way that produces those impossibly vivid blues and greens. Lake Tekapo sits in the Mackenzie Basin, surrounded by golden tussock grassland, with the Two Thumb Range rising behind it and the famous Church of the Good Shepherd on its shores, a tiny stone church that frames the lake and mountains perfectly. At night, this area becomes an international dark sky reserve, and the combination of the lake, the church, and the starry sky is genuinely one of the most beautiful scenes New Zealand has to offer. Lake Wanaka, meanwhile, has its own icon, a single willow tree that grows out of the shallow water near the shore, standing alone against the backdrop of snowy mountains. This tree has become one of the most photographed trees in the world, and seeing it in person, especially in autumn when the leaves turn golden, is a genuinely moving experience. The lake itself is vast and clear, surrounded by mountains on all sides, and the small town of Wanaka on its shores has the kind of relaxed, beautiful atmosphere that makes people want to stay forever. The North Island's volcanic heart, a different kind of drama. New Zealand's natural beauty isn't just about snow-capped peaks and glacial lakes. The North Island offers a completely different type of drama, volcanic landscapes that remind you just how geologically alive this country is. The Tongariro Alpine Crossing is consistently rated one of the best day hikes in the world, and it crosses the flanks of 3 active volcanoes, Tongariro, Garahoe, and Ruapahu. The landscape along this crossing is unlike anything in the Southern Alps. You walk across ancient lava fields, past emerald and turquoise crater lakes, through steam vents and over volcanic rock that crunches underfoot. The colors are extraordinary. The red of iron-rich rock, the yellow of sulfur deposits, the deep blue of the sky, and the vivid green of the crater lakes all sitting together in the same view. Mount Ngarahoe, perfectly cone-shaped, is the mountain that Peter Jackson used as Mount Doom in The Lord of the Rings, and standing beside it, it's not hard to see why. It radiates a kind of ancient, powerful energy. Why New Zealand became the world's film location. When Peter Jackson was looking for a place to film The Lord of the Rings, he didn't have to build the landscapes. They were already there. The rolling green hills of the Waikato became the Shire. The volcanic plateau of the central North Island became Mordor. The Southern Alps stood in for the Misty Mountains. Fiordland doubled as Isengard and various other dramatic locations throughout the trilogy. The reason New Zealand works so perfectly as a cinematic landscape is because it has everything compressed into a small space. In a single day of driving, you can go from subtropical rainforest to alpine peaks, to volcanic plateau, to glacial lake, to fjord. The variety and the scale of the landscapes are extraordinary. And because New Zealand is so sparsely populated relative to its size, large areas remain completely undeveloped. No power lines, no roads, no buildings, just raw, uninterrupted nature. This is something that's increasingly rare in the world, and it's why New Zealand draws not just filmmakers, but hikers, photographers, adventurers, and anyone who wants to experience a version of the natural world that feels genuinely pristine and alive. The country has 9 great walks, designated long-distance hiking routes through its most spectacular landscapes, each one designed to take you deep into an environment that most people only see on screen. New Zealand doesn't just offer views, it offers experiences that stay with you. If this inspired your next adventure, hit like and subscribe for more incredible destinations around the globe. And watch the next video to discover another place that looks straight out of a movie.